The Galactic Combat Academy's training hall fell silent as Instructor Zethor strode to the center of the arena. His forearms flexed with practiced intimidation, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. The Krell warrior had trained thousands of cadets from across the galaxy, and he took particular pleasure in breaking the spirit of overconfident species. "Today," Zethor announced, his translator converting his clicking speech into standard galactic, "we discuss close-quarters combat. Real combat, not the sanitized simulations you weaklings have grown accustomed to." Melissa sat in the third row, her expression neutral. Beside her, William shifted uncomfortably, sensing the direction this lecture would take. They were the only two humans in the class of 40 cadets, a fact that hadn't escaped Zethor's notice. "I have killed many beings in my career," the instructor continued, pacing before the assembled students. "Draconians, Vexeri, even a Titan-class warrior from Gromhala." He paused, his compound eyes sweeping across the room. "But humans were the easiest." Melissa's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. William noticed and placed a subtle hand on her forearm, a warning. She didn't acknowledge it. Soft skin, fragile bones, single heart. No natural armor, no venom, no enhanced sensory organs. Zethor's mandibles clicked in what passed for a laugh among his species. "I encountered 3 humans during the border conflicts. Killed them all before they could even draw their weapons. They moved like they were underwater, reacting in slow motion to my strikes." Several non-human cadets laughed nervously. Others glanced at the 2 humans with mixture of pity and curiosity. "Their homeworld," Zethor continued, warming to his subject, "is classified as a Deathworld by the Galactic Council. Do you know what that means? It means the planet itself is trying to kill you. Yet somehow these fragile creatures evolved there." He shook his head in mock disbelief. "Proof that the universe has a sense of humor." "Instructor," Melissa's voice cut through the hall like a blade. She hadn't raised her hand, hadn't stood, but every eye turned to her. Zethor's compound eyes focused on her with predatory interest. "Yes, cadet. Melissa Chen, sir. From Earth." She stood slowly, her movements economical. "I have a question about your combat methodology." "Speak. You said you killed 3 humans before they could draw weapons. What weapons were they carrying?" Zethor's mandibles clicked irritably. "Standard plasma sidearms. Why does it? And what were the engagement distances?" The instructor's posture stiffened. "Approximately 5 to 7 meters. The tactical relevance of "and these humans," Melissa continued, her voice level but somehow filling the entire hall. "Were they military personnel? Security forces? Or were they civilian contractors?" A long pause. "What difference does that make, cadet?" "It makes all the difference, instructor." Melissa began walking down the aisle toward the arena floor. William closed his eyes and sighed. He knew what was coming. "You killed 3 untrained or poorly trained humans at close range while they attempted to draw firearms, weapons designed for medium to long-range engagement. And from this you concluded that humans are easy to kill." She stepped onto the arena floor. "With respect, sir, your sample size is statistically insignificant and your methodology is flawed." The training hall had become a tomb. No one dared breathe. Zethor's exoskeleton darkened, a Krell threat display. "You dare question my combat record, human? I question your conclusions, sir, not your kills." Melissa stopped 3 meters from the towering alien. "You also failed to mention that humans from Earth have been training in various forms of unarmed combat for over 4,000 years. Wrestling, boxing, judo, Muay Thai, Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We didn't develop these arts because we're weak, instructor. We developed them because everything on our world is stronger than we are, and we refuse to die." Bold words from Melissa moved. What happened next would be analyzed in Academy recordings for years to come. Zethor's enhanced Krell reflexes were legendary. Reaction times measured in milliseconds, processing speed triple that of most species. He registered movement. He began to respond. He was far, far too slow. Melissa closed the distance in a heartbeat. She dropped low, inside the reach of all 4 arms, and drove her shoulder into the instructor's center mass. The impact point was precise, just below his primary thorax plate where the exoskeleton segments connected. As Zethor's weight shifted backward, Melissa's leg hooked behind his, and she used his own mass against him. 300 kilograms of armored Krell warrior crashed to the mat. Before Zethor could recover, Melissa had his primary right arm hyperextended, her knee pressed against his elbow joint, her body weight leveraged to create maximum pressure on the vulnerable connection. Her other hand was positioned at his throat, 2 fingers pressed against the soft membrane where his exoskeleton didn't protect. The entire sequence took 1.3 seconds. This is a human martial art called judo, Melissa explained calmly, not even breathing hard. It was developed by a man who weighed 60 kilograms. The principle is maximum efficiency, minimum effort. You use the opponent's strength against them. She maintained the hold, demonstrating absolute control. On Earth, we have predators with claws, fangs, armor, venom, and strength we can never match. So we learn to think, to adapt, to turn disadvantages into advantages. Zethor struggled briefly, then stopped. The pressure on his arm increased just enough to remind him of his position. The humans you killed were likely terrified civilians in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's tragic. Melissa's voice dropped to something colder. But I'm from Earth, Instructor. Earth, where the gravity is crushing, where the weather kills, where the predators hunt in packs, where microorganisms wage constant war against our bodies, where we had to become the apex predator just to survive childhood. She released him and stood, offering a hand to help him up. Zethor stared at it for a long moment before accepting. You wanted to teach us about real combat, Melissa said as the instructor regained his feet. Lesson learned. Never underestimate an opponent based on their physiology, especially if they're from a Deathworld. The training hall remained absolutely silent. Zethor's mandibles clicked slowly, not in laughter this time, but in what might have been respect. Cadet Chen, report to my office after class. Yes, sir. As Melissa returned to her seat, William leaned over and whispered, You know you're going to be running extra drills for a month for that, right? Melissa allowed herself the smallest smile. Worth it. From that day forward, Instructor Zethor never again told stories about how easy humans were to kill. Instead, he told stories about Melissa Chen, the Deathworld girl who taught a Krell warrior what it meant to underestimate humanity. And when new cadets asked if the stories were exaggerated, he would simply show them the recording and say, Watch carefully. You'll miss it if you blink. The end.